I think there's a fair bit of misunderstanding between the planet Uranus, or as it's commonly referred to as Uranus. But then, my loyal viewer, you're probably wondering, what's so confusing about it? And I'll tell you what, because I've been doing a little bit of research on it and it's definitely not the computer just being turned on. So, let's have a look at the detailed look of Uranus. First, the appearance. As we see, there are many different images if you see on Google Images. But the most famous image is of it as a light blue sort of circle or sphere. Now, at first glance, it kind of seems kind of boring. Until you realise on a simulation, this is how much bigger it is compared to the Earth. And while I do know that's a simulation, it's pretty big. But what does it classify as? Well, in the solar system, there are 8 total planets. Goodbye, Pluto. And they're divided into 2 groups, 4 in each planet. The terrestrial planets, which are Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, and the gassy planets, which are Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. And this is where Uranus comes in, as it's a gassy planet, or a gassy ice giant. You see, with the 2 other planets, Saturn and Jupiter, they're a lot less colder. They might be a lot more cold and windy, but they're definitely not cold in a way where, definitely not in a way where it goes blue. Uranus and Neptune, however, they're more icy. I mean, way more icy. Oh, haven't we forgot about its brother? Its more windier brother, Neptune. And while Neptune and Uranus both have strong winds gusting out, stronger than any other storm that could possibly hit Earth, it isn't particularly windy. At least, Uranus is. Neptune's very windy, which is why you can see strips and another sort of big blue spot. And with Uranus, it's actually the coldest planet. Now you might be thinking, just how was this absurd planet discovered? And it was actually discovered on the 13th of March 1781 by astronomer William Herschel. And of course, he named it after the most ridiculous name ever. I mean, in all seriousness, why are we praising the Greeks and their beliefs? Not every planet has to be named after a Greek myth. Now, I know you're all dying for it, but let's talk about the moons. And it has 27. I honestly thought it was 26. And like all gassy planets, of course, they have a bunch of moons, specifically one that is mostly highlighted for being the biggest moon. Like Jupiter, it has Ganymede, it's larger than the Mercury, or Saturn with Titan, who could have some sort of life because it does have water. Pretty interesting. And yes, of course, the moon is called Titania. You really couldn't have a more original name, Uranus. Name your moons accordingly, of course. More facts on Uranus on Rupkane's The Science Guy. Specifically due to the fact that it's, hold on. This can't be the way I'm seeing it. Is it on its side? And to that I say, yes, pretentious viewer, it is on its side. First it's called Uranus, or Uranus, and now it's topped on its side? Haha, Uranus is topped on its side. Wow. Yes, as I'm seeing in these pictures, as I scroll down, there are many pictures depicting it with rings, which of course it does. Every gas planet has of course lots of moons and now lots of rings. Oh boy, I've driven down a whole mystery. A whole wormhole of all Uranus stuff. Now I bet you're all here for the theories. Scientists' theory suggests that Uranus was actually topped on its side when it was still a terrestrial planet, during its time being a rogue planet, or just when the sun was still a red dwarf, only with enough gravitational pull to pull the smallest of planets. A rogue planet, or terrestrial object, similar about the size, crashed into Uranus and must have had all this space dust combined with Uranus to give it its gassy kind of feel and make stuff very cold. And with this, knocked Uranus onto its side, and since it has rings now, let's hear it all. Uranus jokes.
Right, fine, I'll give you what you want.
Okay, let's see what we got here. What are some of the best facts? Uranus is an icy giant. It has a giant rocky core, and NASA thinks it's full of gas, specifically methane. What is methane? Alright, I hope you're all dying to hear this. It is cow farts. I swear, I'm not even kidding. Literally, I typed this up and it's literally cows. If I had to give scientific reason, it's mostly because the stuff that gets emitted from, well, cow butts is a greenhouse gas. And you can clearly tell. Oh, yes. It's going down the rabbit hole of methane and all sorts of stuff. But back to Uranus. Send this video to anyone who you have trouble when it comes to teaching them about this planet. Because then ultimately this situation will probably come into hand. And plus I am just saying. And that sun is Uranus. But Dad, if that's your anus, where's my anus? Hello, adoption center? Yeah, I'm gonna need your help. Well, it could happen.